Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new broadcast of Larissa Gavi Show. Today is a wonderful day, as usual. Thank God. I'm so excited about having this great man, celebrity designer, on my show today or tonight, depending on where you may find yourself. I'm here in Norway. He is there in US, and we have the opportunity to be together on my platform today for the first time. And I'm so happy and honored. Welcome, Malcolm.
Welcome. Hey, thank you very much for the invitation. I'm really happy about being interviewed. I'm excited about coming to Paris in March, participating in a fashion show, and I'm excited about the opportunity to meet some new people and to just expand and broaden my horizons coming to France. So I bring you all greetings. My name is Malcom Staples. For those of you all obviously you don't know me, I'm the owner and the president of Malcolm's Custom Made to Fit, which is a custom clothier for both men and women. I've been designing clothes for well over 20 years. I've owned my business for about 14 years, and I enjoy doing what I do and staying true to my brand and my aesthetic as a designer. So I'm hoping that that's going to be a good fit when I come to Paris.
I guess so. Paris is a wonderful place. And I came to know you by Michael Ray. I met
Yep.
him at the Olympic. They have an Olympic fashion week. And now he's coming back with the team. And he told me about you, saying you were coming also. The first day I went on your page, I was amazed. So many colors, beautiful. I was just like, whoa, this is amazing. I can't believe I'm going to see that real, not just like online, and probably get one of those. And you say you've been designing for 20 years. How did you start? When did you start? How did you start?
Wow, I have such an interesting journey. I when I started, well, I've been designing in my head for a long time. I started. My grandfather was a tailor, right? So when he was alive, he he really required all of his grandchildren to learn a skill, and the skill was knowing how to operate a sewing machine. I was about 8 years old, 9 years old, or whatever, and he was teaching us how to use a sewing machine, and I became enamored with it because he was my idol, and whatever he did, I would do it just because he asked. And so I used to admire how sharp he would be, how clean he would be every week, always dapper, wearing custom clothes, and he would talk about it like that. And I remember as a kid on a Saturday morning watching my grandfather get up, get dressed in a suit and a tie, going to the barbershop. It never made any sense to all of us. And why would this man get up and put on a suit just to go to the barbershop? But it was so indelible in my head about how this guy thought about fashions and his brand, and it was his brand in his own way that he would put on this fashion show. I call it put on a fashion show every week. He would have on a different suit. He would have the shoes shine. He would have the hat ready. He was just like a walking billboard, and I just fell in love with it. And so I wanted to be like my grandfather, and I continued on. But I kind of got deterred a little bit because I was pretty good in school, and I was an athlete and all of that. So when it was time for me to graduate, I decided and I thought, well, maybe I should go in the business world and try to make some money because I didn't think the fashion would bring me the kind of lifestyle I thought I wanted at the time. So
Wow.
I ended up after graduating, I ended up becoming a school teacher first, and then
Wow.
I moved to being a school teacher to working for one of the largest teachers unions. It was interesting in terms of how I moved from one to the next, and I worked for the union for a number of years, and then I got to a point where I wasn't totally happy. I liked the work, the money was great, but I wasn't totally happy. I wanted to go into the creative side of things, and I never saw a job in terms of what I was doing that I could see myself working for 20 more years in it. I said, I'm not going to do this. So the job, miraculously, I don't even know what happened, but they came out with a buyout program for any employee who had 10 years of experience. They could leave, take a reduced pension, take the money and leave. So I'm not old enough to retire. Obviously, I don't have the years of experience, but I took the money and I ran and I quit my job, and everyone in my family was, they thought I was crazy. Said, what in the world? Why would you leave this good job, this good paying security, all this, and why would you leave it? And I just decided that if it was my time, if I was going to ever start a business or get into the business, I had to do it full time. So I didn't want to be a part time designer. I didn't want to do it on the side. I said either I'm going to do it all or I'm not going to do it. So I decided to take a leap. That was 14 years ago, and I haven't looked back since. And so that's kind of how I got into this business. And I started out only designing suits for men. I had four professional football clients as my first four clients when I started my business. My nephew was one of them. He played professional football, and he convinced three of his buddies who played on the team to buy suits from me. So my first custom suit order, I made 40 suits for four guys, and that's how my business got off the roll. So I hit the ground running. Unlike a lot of businesses who struggle the first 2 years, I made more money in 6 months than I did working a job that I was qualified for years and years and years. So that's kind of how I started, and then I morphed into making more clothes for women than men now because my women's clients, I have more women clients than men. Just let me just put it that way. And they buy more clothes than the guys. So I had to shift my business model to doing more women's clothing. So that's kind of in a nutshell my story. So
Mhm. Wonderful, amazing. Wow.
yep.
You know, this is unbelievable. You know, when you were sharing, I'm like, wow, I can see that you're doing your passion, you're doing what you were called for. And sometimes to find that path is not easy. Many people will live all their life, even come to retire and never really enjoy their life because they find themselves in a job. They have to go to work because of money and the stress. But when you do something that you love, something you feel like, I'm changing life. When I saw your design, they have so much life, and you could see the creation. Like you are a creator, you create. And
Yep.
when I saw your collection, it was nothing like something I saw before. And I just feel like, wow, I would love to connect with this man. And what you put there is your heart, is your experience, is your passion. And this changed everything, you know. And you said you keep on going and you earn so much more because you don't get tired. You get
But
energized by doing what you like. You never
yeah,
get tired. No.
it's really something you have to love in this business because this is so different. Being creative, I mean, it may not, you think about, people getting tired. Sometimes in this business, the emotional strength and emotional weight is very difficult because you're always in a creative mode. You always think about how can you change, how can you do this. And what happens is I get inspired by things that are so non-traditional that, in terms of making me think about clothes. I'm very into, I really like architecture. And so I always think in terms of how can I make something that has an element of architecture, but it's a wearable piece of art. So, for example, when I started making suits for men, and I eventually started making my suits for women, I had to think about what was the difference in terms of these two entities in terms of how they wear suits. Men obviously are very masculine, and so they want strength and shoulders. They want strength and that really highlight their bodies and things like that. If it's a custom suit, and with ladies, what you have to do, or with women, you have to find pieces that amplify your assets. So our bodies are different. You have curves. Men are
Yeah,
just straight up and down,
that's
unless they
for
work
sure.
out and have muscles. And in some, with women, with the curves, and you have different types of curves: small waist, big behinds, big bust, big small waist, big behind,
African
whatever.
woman,
Or
mama.
the inverse, you may have skinny, 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 where it's just
Yeah, exactly.
straight up and down. And then you have everything in between and outside. So as a designer, I cut for the body. For example, I don't try to put a woman in a man suit because it doesn't work. Our curves and our body type doesn't work. But a lot of people who make they claim to make men and women suits. They're really just misleading, because what they do is they make a man suit and they try to squeeze a woman in it, whatever size it is. And most times it doesn't work, because if you're using fine fabric, for example, wools don't stretch. Most women will want stretchable items because they have curves at the bottom. So if you don't have something that has a little bit of stretch in it, you're going to be in trouble. I remember when I first started, I would make these wool pencil skirts for women, and they just hated them because they say, Malcom, they don't give. I got these wide hips, but and I put this skirt on, I can't move because it's uncomfortable. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to find out and realize that you can't use certain fabrics with people who really like elastic waist, for example, or they
Exactly.
like stretchable garments because they wanted to breathe on their bodies. But that's like
Exactly.
being a surgeon. That's like being a doctor. You have to watch what people say and do, and then you have to adjust what you do to fit that genre. But and then on the same token, stay within your personal aesthetic. I don't, when I make clothes for people, I'm not a novelty guy. For example, you can't ask
Yeah.
me to make a suit that has reindeer and Santa Clauses on it. I'm never going to make suits like that because I don't
Mm.
want to do novelty, clownish, goofy stuff. I want serious. I don't want to do this is a Halloween suit. I'm not doing that because I can't sell it after Halloween. So why am I
No.
going to make a Halloween suit that means nothing? I want to make clothes that are wearable, that are
Mm-hmm.
believable, that are functional, and that makes sense. No one's going to give you $1,000 for a suit and only can wear it one time. No sane person wants to
True.
do that. And
It's
unless you're
true.
independently wealthy and you can just do that, you spent that kind of money on a piece of property. You want to max it out. And so that's how I look at
Very
everything.
true.
And then you get inspired by different things. I look at designers that do some great things, but the one
Mm-hmm.
thing that I won't do is I won't copy them. Now I might use their inspiration about trying to do something, but it's going to have a different spin. I'll never replicate someone's suit. Even if someone
Mm-hmm.
asks me and give me a picture, I'll make it, but I'll make it differently. It's going to be something different about that. I'm not going to copy it, because if I copy it, you might as well go to that person and have them do their suit. I'm not going to do that. I'm
Mm.
not going to do that. And that's the only way you stay exclusive. When you say you'll never see yourself in this suit somewhere, you know the reason how I can guarantee that, because I won't make it. That's how I know. If I make it again, I'll tell you this is not a custom suit. This is retail. And you have to distinguish between the two. Custom is individualized, it's personal. Retail is massive. You can get the same suit and have a manufacturer copy your suit and make 1,000 pieces of it. You just tell your client this is retail. You may not see a lot of them, but
Mm-hmm.
you're probably gonna see it again. But if you say I'm a custom suit, you expect not to see that again. So when I use a fabric, I just won't use that fabric anymore ever. There's
Mm-hmm.
a zillion fabrics. Why I got to use that again? That's the only way
Wow.
to maintain exclusivity with what you're doing. And that's what I take into the fashion game as well. You always inspired, but you always try to find your niche. I know who I am as a suit maker. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
pretty good darn suit maker. But
Yeah.
making suits by themselves is not enough in the game. You have to
Mm.
find ways to build, and that's what I did, and that's what I've done over the years, is start off as a kind of a suit and tie guy, and I've morphed into making clothes for men and women. And then now I'm stepping out and I'm trying to elevate the clothes. I mean, you take a black suit, for example. You probably have a black suit or two in your closet.
Yeah.
How do you make a black suit dynamic? I mean, a black suit is a black suit is a black suit. Now you may look good in it, you may project well in it, but it's a black suit. So how do we open up the palette of a black suit? I
Mm-hmm.
think, especially with women, there are some strategic ways that you have to be willing to do in terms of opening up your black suit. First of all, you got to cut it away that accentuates. Secondly, you have to cut areas that accentuate it more. For example, I always put a long split on the left side. Why? Because my
Mm-hmm.
mom said it. I don't know why she said the left side was the most important side. I do it. So I put a split on the left side because I want to show a little bit of leg. Leg is okay. It's not over the top. It's not trying to be sensual or whatever. It just happens to be something that elevates a suit. You cut it away to show the
Mm-hmm.
shoulders. You cut away to show bust line sometimes. You want to see neckline. You try to make your suits as functional as possible so that whoever might be potentially want to buy it, say, you know
Yeah.
what? I can wear that. And when you get more of I can wear that, sometimes that leads to I'm going to buy that. And if you're going
Exactly.
to buy
It's
it,
true.
I live to see another day and I can eat. So that's the reality of it. And that's how I take it. That's what I do. I don't make
Wow.
show suit. I don't make fashion show suits. So what you'll see at the show in
Mm-hmm.
March, these are pieces that people can buy now. Wearable,
Mm.
nothing. There are no shells. They're going to be all finished garments. So a lot of times people take fashion shows and you see the shell of it. Oh, it's a nice dress, but it has no lining in it. Why would you buy a dress and it doesn't have any lining? You live in Michigan where there's 20, 20 below 0 degrees outside. I mean, you're going to wear an unlined dress? I don't think so. So, um, so that's the thing. So every piece that you'll see showcased in Paris will be
Mm-hmm.
something that can be purchased right now because it'll be a functional, complete
Mm-hmm.
outfit, not
Wow.
just a showpiece. So I'm sorry, I don't mean to get on a roll, but I get
Wow.
excited about what I do. I can talk for days because this is what I do. I live the
Yes.
life. That's what it is.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you so much. I've just been listening because this is my first time to talk with you, and I love that because then I'm also into the interview and the conversation, and this is amazing. And do you have shops around the world or just in your city?
Well, right now I'm in the United States, and one of the reasons why I really like to go international in terms of just my whole brand projection is
Hmm.
this year I'm committed. I'm hoping I'm committed to coming to Paris, going to London and Milan. I want to kind of, I call it the kind of the trifecta of international fashion shows. And so part of this is because I get so many invitations, and Dubai is another place. I get so many invitations to come to these places and show my collection because on some level it's a little bit unique. It's like
Yes.
wearing, it's like timeless pieces with an edge. You know what I'm saying? I
Yes.
never lose of making clothes because my grandfather always talked about making wearable items in order to sell even when
Yeah.
trends come and go. You have to have pieces that transcend a
Um,
trend
I
because a
understand.
lot of times when you make trendy items, when the
Yes,
trend leaves, you starve because you can't sell those trendy items anymore.
it's
But
true.
there's never going to be a place where a women's black suit will go out of style. You'll
Never.
always, and so you have to think
Never.
about what you make. So when you see that, and so I think that there's another level, like in Paris, London, and Milan, and Dubai, and I'd like to explore that as some possibilities of expanding my brand beyond what
Mhm.
I'm doing here. And I think that there's some great possibilities. So, but the only way you know that is that you have to be willing to go. I mean, I could stay in the United States and be very comfortable with what I do. But if your interest is expanding the brand and even expanding yourself and
Mhm.
learning more from those who live in other places, that's great. And so that's one of the things that I'm hoping to do. I don't know if you know this, but if you've been on my page, you see that I've done a lot of work in the published arena. I
Yes.
get a lot of models published. I've worked with a lot of international brands, a lot of international publications all over the
Mhm.
world. And so
Yeah, I saw that.
part of my visual, and people know me or know my work internationally because my work has appeared. For example, I've I'm probably the most published designer in the United States. I have more than 160 front covers on international publications. I mean,
Wow.
that does that. I mean, I have more front covers, and these are covers that I don't pay for. These are covers that I've earned through my work, and so part of that, and I'm proud of that because it's an amazing feat that
Appreciation.
kind of morphed into that during
Mhm.
our pandemic when everything was slowed down and nobody wanted to come outside. Everybody was scared. They were staying in the house and working.
Yeah.
During that time, my team, we worked every weekend to try to hone our craft. So for 3 years or 2 years consecutively, all we
Mhm.
did, I went to New York every weekend for 2 years. I live in
Wow.
DC. I went to New York every weekend for 2 years, just honing the skill, shooting, photo shoots, learning how to be better at what we did. And before you know it, the craft was so sharp that we was able to find the niche about submitting to high-end magazines, and that became kind of kind of my banner in terms of what I've done over the last few years, most
Mhm.
people associate me with all those covers, and that's hard work, and we had to learn how to do it. And so the
Mhm.
pandemic helped us sharpen and build our brand because of it.
Wow. Congratulations so
Thank you.
far. And
Thank you.
wow, you done achieve a lot and you deserve it. And you are coming to Paris. Do you speak French? Bonjour,
Oh,
bonsoir.
Lord. No, I don't. And I feel like it's going to be a challenge for me because I know everybody there just will. I have to, I'm just going to learn some words or some basic things I think that I need to
You,
understand in order to communicate effectively. I don't know. I always applaud anyone who can speak more than one language. You have my vote. I don't know how anyone could go somewhere and know another language. You speak French, you speak English. I'm sure you might speak other language. I'm just
Norwegian.
how do you become efficient with that? I just don't know. I speak English and I can't imagine speaking Spanish. I can't imagine. It's just one of those things. So I'm always intrigued when people speak multiple languages. I just think that that is a God given skill to be able to do that because it just
I think
if
I
you're
think
on that.
so also because you sound like a good friend of mine, which is he's French, and most French people they don't speak English. And
Oh my God. Yeah,
when
so
you
no, it's
ask
gonna
them,
be a challenge for me. It's gonna be a challenge. I'm gonna write some words down. I'm gonna listen to some videotapes and some audio tapes, and I'm gonna try to learn some things that I think I
yeah,
need to know, some basic things, and so
I
I
think
can be.
you should because when you ask them, do you speak English? They always say yes, 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 yes.
Yes,
Everything
yes,
for the French guy is yes, yes, yes. Oh no, 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 no. So
yeah. So I have to. Yeah, I have to learn that. I've gotten that advice from several of my colleagues that have traveled to France. Like I
mhm.
have a designer friend who called me the other day. Goes, "Says Malcolm, look, you need to spend a little time and learn some of these basic things so that you can function. You want to go into a restaurant, you want a cappuccino, you got to understand what you're ordering, and this got to, some basic stuff like you don't even think about that. I'm thinking you just get off the plane and go do what you have to do. And it may not be as simple as you think. So I'm anticipating I need to
Yeah,
start
you need
fast
to
and learn a couple of things.
learn somewhat. And at least you learn thank you, yes and no, and good morning.
Well, that's what it is. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a great experience, and
Yeah, I think
I
so.
that's one of those things I think like I said, it's hard to anticipate that, but
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a great. I've never been to Paris, and so I'm extremely excited about that, and so
Yeah,
I'm really anticipating a great time.
it's going to be a wonderful experience. I will be traveling from Norway, and it's amazing. I speak French. I'm a francophone, so it's
Oh
easy
my
for me
God!
to
You
be
know,
there. You have
you
an extra
actually live in Norway. You live in
translate.
Norway.
For 17 years, I've been
Oh
living
my
here.
God! I mean, like I said, I have a young lady from Norway. I think you mentioned her that she reached out and
Oh,
she's one of the models. And
yeah.
so I'm right now I'm going through the model list, and I saw two models from Norway on the list. And,
I have some couple of Miss Universe and top model. There are not so many, but they are very excited
okay.
to be part of your team and support because Michael asked us to ask me if I could bring some model from Norway. By the way, I wanted to ask, yeah, it's on the 7th. So
Yeah.
would you say something to invite people, the date, and I know we are going to be there already from the 5th.
Yep.
I will be there, but maybe you coming before. The event will be on the 7th at the hotel there.
We got the Hotel Napoleon is where the show will be held. I assume like I've been told that it's close to the real main strip, whatever that is. So I'm looking forward to that. It's really a really nice hotel. I had a chance to look at some of the amenities and all that. It's like, oh my God, this is a great location. So I'm looking forward to. I'll arrive on the 5th. I'm going to stay till the 9th. I'm hoping that on the 8th, the day before I leave, that I get a chance to do a photo shoot with some of the models who are going to be hanging around. Because I obviously to come to Paris and not do a photo shoot would be crazy, and I'm not going to do that. So I've been trying to work out a little situation with a photographer so that I can get my collection shot while I'm there. So I'm looking forward to that as well because it's one of those things where you can't replicate. You can't get this. You can't get that texture of Paris being in New
Exactly.
York City. I know, but I'm saying you just can't get it. So I'm looking forward to an opportunity to do that and to see Paris, and and maybe have a little time I can at least see some of the city.
Exactly. Oh, awesome. I'm so excited about it. And thank you so much for
Yeah,
honoring my invitation. I'm looking forward to meet you in person.
thank
And
you.
probably we're going to have fun. This is amazing. I love what I'm doing also. And when many people who are following their passion are together, it's only magic that happens.
Oh
So
yeah, I agree.
I'm very happy you came, and I'm looking forward to see you in Paris.
Thank you.
Bye.
Well, I look forward to being there, and like I said, I'm it's going to be a great experience, and I know we're going to all enjoy it.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
See you then.
Thank you. Bye.
Don't go, don't go.